cuando ya te pase la lengüita y te trae un whiskycito con agüita tónica. Yo sé que no eres virgen, que no eres católica. Lo más que me gusta es que tú eres media complicada. Quiero ver cómo tus ojos se ponen con indica. Verdecitos colorados. No sé si se nota, me tienes desesperado. Soñando contigo todas las noches desvelado. Déjame probarte y cada cual por su lado. ¿Y qué vas a hacer si me despego y te jalo por el pelo? Yo sé que te va a mojar, solo déjate llevar. Y déjame sentirte una vez, por si no te vuelvo a ver. Luego lo sigo normal con mi vida, y tú la tuya con él. Y tú la tuya con él. Tú la tuya con él. Tú la tuya con él. Tú la tuya con él.
Okay, everyone. Happy Tuesday, I believe it is. Hope everyone's having a great day. I'm going to go ahead and shut off the music now, and we're going to get started. Sweet. Stop sharing. Awesome. So, funny enough, let me turn on my camera here. Funny enough, today's training is going to be on how to use Zoom. It's a super, super simple training. I think it's super crucial also because of the different industries that we're in, or maybe the same industry that we're in. Regardless, we're in a pandemic and everyone should learn how to use Zoom or some kind of virtual conference, whether that be Google Hangouts or anything else. But it's going to be critical in terms of growing your online presence. All right, so with that being said, let me share my screen with you guys. If you guys don't know who I am, my name is Nancy Aguilera. I'm from Chicago. I'm 25, been in IAM for almost 3 years, and it's super crazy to be able to even say that. For those of you that might not be in IAM, which there might be a few, I've been a full-time entrepreneur for about 1.5 years, inching up to 2 years, and that was because of an industry or a platform called IAM Mastery Academy. What's up, Alexis? So I'm going to share my screen with you guys, and I think this is really beneficial because even if you know how to use Zoom, your people might not. And I don't know if anyone can relate, but hopping on a Zoom where it's a little bit chaotic kind of takes away from the experience, right? It's like going anywhere, whether it be on site, a store, a restaurant. If there's a bunch of noise and there's a bunch of distractions, it's not going to be the same experience. So we want to make this experience as smooth as possible for the people that are attending our virtual conference. So funny enough, Zoom is one of the biggest virtual conference or virtual hangout centers. Their stock went up significantly during pandemic. So congratulations to anyone that bought Zoom stock. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. This is what you see when you open up the Zoom application, whether it be on your phone or on your PC or desktop. You see here that I had a scheduled Zoom for 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is right now. That is going to pop up because that's what's coming up next, right? You have the new meeting, easy enough, how to start a new meeting. You can join a meeting. We'll go into that a little bit later. You could schedule a meeting. So because I scheduled this ahead of time, it was waiting for me to just click the start button. And they had already programmed a hyperlink that I was able to send out to people. That's how you guys hopped onto this call. And my favorite part about this is that it goes directly to my Google Calendar. I use my Google Calendar more than any other app. So I'm super, super grateful that it just links it automatically and I don't have to go in and type, this is the meeting that I had at this time. It also works with iCal. And fun fact, you can link your iCal and your Google Cal. So it's all just everywhere. And then we have scheduled meetings will be also in here, in addition to past recordings of meetings. So we'll get into that a little bit later. Two ways of joining, like I just mentioned. There's putting in a meeting ID. I believe it's a 9 or 10-digit number. We see it right here. 1, 2, 3 plus 4 is 7 plus 4 is 11. So it's an 11-digit number now, but I'm pretty sure that used to be 10. And you just add it here. Something to know, and just to not be surprised when this happens, is that when you put in this 10 or 11-digit number as a meeting ID, it might ask you for a password. So if it does, no worries, just ask the person, whoever sent you the Zoom ID number, to give you the password as well, and it'll all be smooth. Then there's a hyperlink, which I'm sure a lot of you chose to get onto this Zoom call. It's a hyperlink that takes you directly to here. Easy enough. So how to get these? There's a button when you click participants on the home screen once a Zoom link or a Zoom call is already open. After you click participants, you go to copy invite link. It'll give you a lot of options. If you click, for example, copy invitation, it sends out this huge formal invitation based off of Zoom that gives you multiple options on how to join the meeting. More than just these two. These are just the two most common ones. It'll give you how to dial in from like all these different countries. You don't need to send the whole entire invitation. I think just copying the link makes things super easy for whoever it is that you're sending it to. Because also, if people have never been on Zoom and you're inviting them to this online presentation, they're going to be like, what is this? You know? So I think it's just easier to keep it clean, keep it short, and keep it easy. Then there's also the option of finding it over here. So Zoom makes it super easy for you to do everything. Configurations for a smooth conference. Like we said, we wanted to make this the smoothest experience that we can possibly do. So what I'm doing right now is I'm screen sharing. Screen sharing is found here at the bottom of my screen. It has a green button for me. That's on PC and desktop, and I believe Android as well. I didn't think I put this in here, but Zoom has the application on the phone, and on the phone, it goes under broadcast. So screen share and then broadcast. But here on PC, basically, whatever it is that you want people to see, you can select, you can be selective. If you want them to see anything and everything that is on your computer desktop right now on your screen, we could do that. If you just want to have one application that people can see, for example, whether you're using Safari or Google Chrome or Bing or any other browser that there are, then you can keep it to just that. That way, anything else that you have open, you don't really have to worry about. I use this when I have notes. I use an application called OneNote to read off of some bullet points, but then I'm showing my screen and I'm sharing the computer or the internet browser, but I'm not sharing the other application. So people can only see the computer browser, but I'm looking at both. Fun fact. So make sure that if you're sharing your screen and you have the intention to be sharing music as well, make sure that you click this little button here at the bottom left, because I've had some meetings where I accidentally forget to click that and people are watching a beautiful video, but they're not hearing anything. And for people to be sitting in silence for 5 minutes, regardless of how pretty the video is, it's a little bit awkward anyway. At least it's a fun story. But make sure that they can hear it. You also have the option to only share audio and not share your screen, in which case people will just be looking at a white screen that says so on is sharing audio. Then we have the recordings, like I mentioned before. Here on this, it didn't have room to show the recordings, but instead there's a button, there's 3 dots that say more. Here you have the option to record to the cloud. You have the option to record to your computer straight off the bat. And just something to note here is that when you select a plan for Zoom, if you don't have the free one, then you opt for a certain capacity in terms of cloud memory or cloud storage. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that if you have Apple or anything else in which you're storing things on the cloud. It works the exact same way. So if you're somebody that's having or that wants to record a lot of your meetings, make sure that you have enough capacity for that, because it'd be really ironic if this isn't recorded. But yes, and then we have one of the most important things that I think we should take note of in terms of Zoom is the mute button. It sounds rude, and it's not like I don't want to hear you guys, I do. But once, or I guess before you go into a Zoom conference, before you start one, especially if you're hosting one, right? You could see here, I am the host. There's no participants, but you guys get my drift. You get to choose how engaging you want your conference to be. So if you want people to be able to unmute themselves, then by all means, have that as an option. If you want it to be more one-way conversation where you're talking and people are listening, then I suggest clicking the mute all and not allowing people to unmute themselves. Because what I've found that happens is sometimes people accidentally unmute themselves and they don't even realize it. It could be when your phone is in your pocket or the bottom of your purse and you're like taking groceries in, you got like the AirPods in. People accidentally unmute themselves all the time. And that could be a little bit distracting. So imagine me going through this presentation or sharing this information, and then you hear like this loud music or beeping in the background. It just wouldn't give a smooth experience in terms of Zoom. So that being said, we're going to keep this training super, super, super short. I would love for you guys to use this time to be productive. I'm a huge advocate for productivity instead of activity, but I do think this is important information, just so you know how to run your own Zoom trainings or Zoom conferences. Other notes is that you bring the energy. If I sounded super monotonous and I was just reading off of a script, a lot of people would lose their attention or would lose my attention, and it'd be super easy to get distracted, right? So instead, it's okay and highly encouraged for you to bring the energy, to fluctuate your voice, to use what we call tonality and captivate people's attention. I can only speak for myself, but I have a short attention span. So I love when my trainings are 40 minutes or less. That's going into another topic, but anyway, you bring the energy. I like to tell people that you are the thermostat, not the thermometer. You are in control of the energy in the room, and it's not in control of you. Introducing yourself, just in case there's people that don't know you, of course, it's just polite to introduce yourself. And like I mentioned before you even start the training, I think it's important to decide ahead of time if you want engagement on this training. So for example, this one, it's pretty much just me talking. But if I were to be asking you guys questions, then I would be asking, drop a 7 in the chat if you agree with this, or raise your hand in the chat if you agree with me, or give me some head nods, or some people don't like when people's cameras are off. So if you have that kind of expectation, and if that feeds your energy, especially when you're the presenter, then by all means, it's okay to announce that ahead of time before you even get the training started. So right off the bat, an example of me starting this training could have been like, hey guys, my name is Nancy Aguilera. I love feeding off of the energy that's in this chat box, or I love feeding off the energy of you guys just writing down notes or paying close attention. So if you could just turn on your cameras and give me some head nods along the way, that we can make this super, super smooth, right? That's just an example. And you can totally do that. Like, this is your Zoom meeting. This is your presentation or your conference. You're the thermostat, right? So you get to set the expectations. The music that I had in the beginning, it was upbeat, it was Spanish, it gets people in the vibe. I don't want people to be falling asleep to the trainings, right? They're here to be beneficial, to be helpful for you. Doesn't really do too much for me, aside from my guest practice. So that's cool. But music should be appropriate. It should set the tone to whatever it is that you want the training to be like. For example, there are some times where I set like binaural beats at the beginning of my trainings because I want them to be more zen or more tranquil. There are other times where I put like some Kanye West because I want people to get pumped. So depending on what kind of energy you want, or where you want to start the energy, like on the right foot, then choose your music accordingly. I do recommend not having any explicit music or videos. And then visuals are encouraged, but again, choose your visuals wisely. And coming into just a very common sense or very logical aspect, but I guess common sense isn't always that common, right? When you are the host of a Zoom meeting, find a quiet spot in your home. Find a quiet spot in your home or your office or wherever it is that you're going to be doing this. Some good lighting is a plus. Closed doors, also a plus. Just make sure that you turn off any background noise. With that being said, if you have somebody that's on the same Zoom meeting in the same room as you, it might interrupt in terms of frequencies, and you're going to hear a loud and high screechy ring, and we don't want that because, again, that disturbs the peace. It disturbs people's experience. It's not a pleasant sound. And then take advantage of any virtual backgrounds that you want. You could pretty much set any image as long as it's the same, like a good resolution to a virtual background. And if you guys want, side note, if you guys want to make your own, there's a website and an application called Canva that you can do that in. So just making your own virtual background. That way, if you are at home and it might not be the tidiest place, then you can just use that. And then in the back of me, you would be seeing like stars or farm or whatever we put there. So it just keeps it really professional. And then there are going to be moments, I mean, maybe, I've seen them happen, in which there's unsolicited annotations on the screen or unsolicited guests on the Zoom. And the reason why that's important to just know, and why I say here on the left-hand side, is manage the chaos. Unexpected things are going to happen. This is only a virtual conference, so it's not a big deal. You do have the option to kick people out. You do have the option to just, like keep it cool, calm, collected. The Zoom call isn't going to last forever anyway. That being said, let me go back to a few slides, and I want to show you guys here this in the middle. This is under where it says security. You have a few options here where you could ask Zoom to let you know when people are in this virtual waiting room, and then you give them access accordingly. So let's say that you had a super exclusive training and you selected 10 people to be on this call. All right, cool. Who are these other 2 people that I don't know their names? You don't have to admit them in. They would just be in like this limbo waiting for you to let them in on a white screen, and it'll say Nancy Aguilera's Zoom is in session. Host will let you in soon. But if you don't want them in your Zoom, then they don't get it. I think that's just important for those calls that you want to be really exclusive, or maybe like a one-on-one, or something that's going to be a little bit more personal. Because what I found is sometimes if you share your personal Zoom link and you use the same one over and over and over again, people will just randomly click on it. I don't know why, but it happens. With that being said, also, when it comes to the hyperlink and Zoom giving you one, you have the option of using the same one always or generating a new one. So just know that you have those options. And last but not least, time is a currency. Value it. I like to keep my training super, super short because, again, I rather you guys be productive with your time instead of keeping you here for an hour when we could have finished it in 20 minutes. You get my drift. So time is a currency. It's very valuable. You can't really replace it. Be mindful of other people's schedules, especially if you're in an industry that you have trainings back to back to back to back. So if you have a training at 6 o'clock, I would hope that you'd be done by 6:55. That way you give people time, if there's a 7 o'clock call, to, get some water, go to the restroom, stretch. I don't think it's as effective to sit in front of a computer for 5 or 8 hours straight without moving around, right? Again, when it comes down to attention span, mine is very short. So I have to be moving around, getting up, stretching, drinking some water, taking a walk around the house, just to make sure that I'm fully present. Because what good is you being on a Zoom call if you're not going to be paying attention, right? It's just kind of a waste of everybody's time. So I rather condense my Zoom calls and Zoom trainings and say, hey guys, I'm going to do this Zoom call in 40 minutes or 30 minutes or 25 minutes, but just stay with me for 25 minutes and you'll get out of here, right? Kind of like in class. I like those teachers. So last but not least, also fam bam, or I'm sorry, I think it's supposed to be bam fam. Book a meeting from a meeting. Whether you have reoccurring meetings, then you can say, hey guys, I'll see you next Tuesday, same time, same Zoom link. It's going to be a different topic. or if there's a training coming up right after yours, I think it's common courtesy and a really good promoting skill set to automatically announce the next training. So what time is it? It is 6:24. The next training for us is at 7. So as I'm closing this off, as I'm concluding, I'm going to say, hey guys, make sure that you get a drink of water, that you feel good. And the next training is going to start at 7 o'clock. It's going to be run by insert here, and it's going to discuss insert topic here. So if that's relevant to you, then definitely hop on. I highly encourage it. Super simple. Everything is kept professional. Everything is kept neat and clean, and you're helping people out. These small details, they keep everyone organized, especially when it comes down to having an organization of over 1,000 people. You would think that a lot of people just know what to do, but you can't really expect that without training them on it, right? So how would somebody know that there's a 7 o'clock meeting if you didn't announce it right when you had the chance to? It just makes things super easy. So with that being said, guys, I wanted to keep this meeting super, super short, brief. It's going to go on YouTube, so you can take it out and, you know, share it with your people, especially the newer folks. I think it'll be really beneficial for everybody's organizations. Let's take things up to one more level of professionalism, uniformity. I think that'll definitely help everybody out in the long run. So with that being said, if you guys have another call at 7 p.m., I highly, highly, highly recommend getting up, stretching, getting some water, reviewing your notes, thinking about the next thing that you want to do, and hopping on that call if it's relevant for you. Otherwise, do something that's going to either pay you in some kind of way, whether that be fiscally, energetically, mentally, physically. Invest in yourself. It's the safest place to do it. I'll catch you next time, and you can catch this video on YouTube. Good night, guys.